Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Of course, we've got the one and only Jenny McCartney in the booth, the social media goddess herself, pushing those buttons, making the show go again today. And, the co-hosts. I guess we'll go with the co-hosts. We got some of those, of course, coming to us live via satellite, as always, from his perch, I guess, high atop the Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one and only Louis Lawless. Yes, high atop there. Are you there, Louis?
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, we got that. Don't worry.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Now you go right ahead, sir. We've got you covered.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. And also joining us from his wonderful, beautiful, stately, I must say, apartment in Manhattan here in the big city is the one, the only, what's his name again? Oh, yes, Gilbert Godfrey. Are you ready, sir?
What the fuck?
Huh? Okay.
I'm ready.
Good. All right.
Yes.
All right. Gilbert Godfrey joining us from his lovely home here in the city. And also joining us is, of course, the one, the only George Takei, all the way from his home in Los Angeles, California. George, thank you for coming.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Yeah. There you go. And thank you. That's awesome. Now, is this thing on?
Yeah. It's on. Is this on?
Is
this on? I can't tap it. I would tap it, but I won't do that. So.
There you go.
That's
well.
Right. Only one, Meeps. That's us. The only one, HTLA Radio 1 New York, and you're here and you're listening. And this is Straight Talk. And, yeah, we've got 90 minutes of springtime in the city stories for you tonight. And, lots of social injustice stories. I'm in the mood for ranting. We said we weren't going to do a rant show, but here we are. And it's going to turn into a rant show.
It is, yes.
I can't help but be angry about the stories. You know, there's just too much to be excited about. And everybody's got to bring us down with all this stuff.
Stupidity.
That's right. And well, we'll talk about that too, because we've got a great show coming up for you that we've got in development for a little while now, and we're going to launch that Wednesday, and we'll talk about that a bit later. That's pretty exciting. That's called The Spotlight with Kate and Crush.
Absolutely. And tonight, a bit of a free-for-all. We're going to tear it up for you on tonight's Straight Talk. Everything from the day's events to some politics goodiness and the struggle, of course, to maintain home and work. We'll get into it all tonight. Professional businesswomen that I talk to, they do the work, but it's just the corporate work, and they think that's enough because, damn it, I've just put 12 hours a day in today in my job, and
right.
They feel deserving of something else, not to come home and take care of the kids, and not to come home and take care of the husband, and not to come home and take care of anything else.
Right.
It's time for them to kick their feet up now and go hit the bars and relax or something because they've earned it. Right. And I'm here to say that as a man, we do that all the time. We always have. We go out and work our full-time jobs or more.
Right.
And we come home and we're still expected to be the dad. We're still expected to help the kids with the homework. We're still expected to have activities and stuff with our family and have that interaction and put that time in.
Sure.
Maybe that's why we get 100% of our pay instead of 70% of our pay.
Right. Right. Well, you're not... Well, in the tradition now, men are also expected to do half the housework and half of all that stuff, whereas it used to just be before, you know, the garbages and the lawns and all that stuff that you do, the man stuff, you know. So, yes, and unfortunately, in some cases, in a great majority of the households now, more often than not, the women are working, and, you know, I have so many, you know, friends that I know that their husbands take care of the kids and drop the kids at school and do the school activities and do the projects and wash the clothes. And
Yes, but with that comes the dreaded beta male, because there's not a single one of those men that I have met that I would look up to and battle.
No, of course not. And this is to our thinking. to our thinking. And while it took us years in practice, it was an ideology that we shared from the moment that we met anyway.
Yeah.
The whole, that was our vision for what the ideal family was.
That was our vision for greatness. Yeah. Oh. That's right, gang. We're striking up the band today. Yes. HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk, where currently, I am happy to say, it is 67 degrees in Central Park and the sun is shining. And I'm a hopping man. Yes, I am. Welcome to this special late edition of Coffee and Cigarettes. Yes, we are late today. Normally 3 p.m. Eastern every day, Monday to Friday. But, of course, today, well, I just had to get naked with Jeremy Irvine in a car in Manhattan here and compare abs. That's what I was doing. So, yeah. Supposed to have them live tonight on Straight Talk, but of course, the biz. Everything gets changed around, moved around, even when you're in the middle of things. So that's what we did today. We cruised around in a car with Jeremy Irvine. There you go. Well, what about today? What about the show, Crash Man? Get to it. Hey, well, today in the coffee shop, we've got good news, and it's finally official. Yes, Hillary Denis Rodman Clinton is indeed running for president, and thanks to Coffee and Cigarettes, the astronauts aboard the International Space Station are indeed getting a new coffee machine. And Kanye West, of course, finally took my advice and jumped in a lake today. Yes, as those parents who were in trouble for letting their kids walk alone are in trouble again. Also, because you need to know, we'll tell you why the Earth gets stronger when a meteor hits it, and, of course, well, the Democrats say the federal LGBT protections are needed. For the love of God, they're dying all over the place. All that and so much more today. So much more. I couldn't even begin to tell you how much more. I'm going to go long because there's so much more. So come on in, grab a cup, have a seat, and light one up. You got it. It is indeed most certainly coffee time. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Coffee and Cigarettes on HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. I am the host, of course, Christopher Crash Jesus Taylor, in the house for you today. Laying down the show, albeit 2 hours late, but I'm laying down the show. Also in the booth, pushing those buttons, making the show go, is, of course, the one, the only former social media goddess, Jenny McCartney. Yes, working away, slaving away on that PreSonus 2442 digital mixer that we use at HTLA Studio 2. And a reminder, if you're into audio at all, go check out PreSonus.com. They've pretty much got everything you'd ever want, even some things you would want with a prescription. They've got it there. Check them out, PreSonus.com. And also, of course, the show today, of course, is brought to you by Tim Hortons New York City, now with 8 locations throughout that city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs. That's right, when you want it fresh, go to Tim Hortons. It's always fresh. It is, yes. And I know because I'm enjoying it right now. Thank you. Oh, so much to get to today. And, of course, you knew it was coming, the big announcement, yes, Hillary Denis Rodman Clinton there, definitely going for the White House. Yes, she is, and we didn't know that. Came as a total, complete surprise, a shock. Didn't know what the hell we were going to do. We had no idea. But, of course, one of our lovely / guest co-hosts, Gilbert Gottfried, of course, lives right next door to her. Well, her campaign office, anyway. Yeah, got that about a month ago. But anyway, speaking of guest/co-host, of course, we do have them, and have them aplenty we do. First of all, coming to us all the way from Millbay Studios in beautiful Millbay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one, the only Louis Lawless of LDL Films Incorporated Conglomerate, I guess. Yes, the former television and film madman who has retired to beautiful Millbay, British Columbia, and now he's closing out the twilight years with documentaries, apparently. Louis, are you there, sir?
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
I guess the documentary business ain't going as good as he thought.
If I go a half an hour, do I get $50,000?
Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
I'll make a deal with you. If you don't make me pay you $50,000, you can cuss.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. See, I got the beep ready anyway. Well, moving on, of course, to our lovely friend and good friend here at HTLA, the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried, from his sprawling, spacious mansion apartment high atop the, I don't know, we'll call it the Chrysler Building. Yeah. It's good to have you here, sir. Thank you for coming.
What the fuck?
Well, as always. Yeah.
I'm ready.
Well, good. I'm glad you're ready, because I'm ready. I know Louis is ready.
They get fucking crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
Yes.
All right. Well, Louis sounds fired up today. He's ready. And, of course, our last guest/co-host, of course, today, joining us from his lofty, we'll call it the lofty office.
Yes.
The lofty office in his billions and billions of dollars Malibu home is the one and only former governor of California, Arnold.
Yes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold, are you there, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Welcome to the show. Yeah. It's good to have you. Are you alive?
I'm not going to complain about it, right?
I'd almost wish you would.
Yes.
Okay, well, he's not too talkative today, Gilbert, which of course means that, you're going to take up more airtime. Well, and indeed you take up more air. Yeah. So I guess without further ado, we'll let you sing your little ditty.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, your song. Here we go. Gilbert, take it away.
Na 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 na, ba ma 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 ma. Oh yeah. Who wants to grow up? Who wants responsibility? Oh no, not me. Who wants to show up and work until you're 93?
Well, take it away. Second verse.
Now everybody says you're running wild. The teacher's calling you a problem. Ooh.
That was just awful. Yeah. Now, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can do. We're contractually obliged to play that crap.
Yeah.
When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the
Yes.
place.
Well, that's why I'm the boss, Arnold.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right, well, thank you, Louis. Yes, of course, we will move on. Mark my words. Damn it. Oh, damn it. Yeah. What is the first story up today, you may ask, on the old coffee and cigarettes? Well, it's pretty obvious if you ask me, because of course we've been waiting for this for a year,
Yes.
something like a year. Well, it's something like that, and of course it is the Hillary Clinton 2016 news that, yes, indeed, as if we didn't know. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Thank you. That's lovely, Jenny.
Yes.
Okay. Jenny's off to a great start this Monday.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton, yes, of course, yesterday announcing that she will indeed run for the ticket there, the Democratic ticket, and indeed the White House. Yes, let's make it 12 years of hell. 12 years of hell, first brought to you by the first homosexual man in the White House. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I misread that. He's the first black man in the White House. There we go. Okay, sorry. I get those two confused all the time. And, of course, now we'll finish that up with the first woman in the White House.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you have sharks in both tanks.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, whether it's women or gays, we're screwed. Well, in Des Moines, Iowa today, true blue Democratic activists at a party fundraising dinner were positively giddy to have two possible presidential contenders there live and in person. Martin O'Malley and Jim Webb. Yeah. No. And their front-runner, Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Ready to dive into the race, yes, but they got plenty of questions on their minds for Clinton, who kicked off her campaign Sunday and her potential challengers for the Democratic nomination. Here's what they had to say in interviews with the Des Moines Register at the Polk County Democrats spring dinner. Question number 1, will Clinton start to stand for something? No, I'm not even kidding. It's been nearly 8... What? Oh, Jenny, I'm Jenny. I'm gonna have to kill you. I'm. We may take actually a longer commercial break today while I bend Jenny over and spank her.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's been nearly 8 years since Clinton campaigned here, and no one really knows what to expect, says many of the activists gathered at the Labor Union Hall in Des Moines. They're wondering, has she grown into a more conservative Democrat over the years? Or will she take cues from the ultra-left heartthrob Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts? Heartthrob? Really? Okay, and have the guts to stand tall on progressive issues. Will she have what it takes to capture the aspirations of the people? Well, in a word, no. I am a Hillary supporter, but I haven't closed my mind to say it's Hillary or nobody, says Jonathan Throop, the Des Moines Beaverdale resident who has already met O'Malley 3 times. She gets kind of boring after a while. Things may have changed, of course, since the last time I saw her on the campaign trail. Several union members taking a smoke break outside the United Auto Workers Hall where the dinner was held said that the last time they heard Clinton speak at the Harkin Steak Fry in September... Yes, you know you're going places when you're speaking at the Harkin Steak Fry.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, man. Well, she said nothing substantive. No. Well, it's probably because she was at a steak fry. Yeah. Neither would I. Past the bud?
Yes.
Well, when asked how she can reignite the blaze of passion in Iowa, Earl Agan Jr. answered, quote, I don't think she can. He's a business manager for the Operative Plasters and Cement Makers International Association, Local Number 21, and Area 561, Iowa. He says, we've had too many Clintons and Bushes. I won't vote for her. Well, again, Blanche is at the news reports about Clinton's family foundation accepting millions of dollars from Middle Eastern countries known for violence against women, sex discrimination, and other human rights abuses. It doesn't pay well, he said. But several of Agari's fellow laborists, activists, said that if Clinton gives some home-run speeches detailing how she'd deal with some inequality, she could win at least, well, some allegiance. Other Iowa Democrats say they're confident that the corporate marketing geniuses who have taken leaves of absence from their high-powered jobs to help the Clinton campaign will know exactly how to refresh a, quote, older brand. Is that what they're calling her now? The older brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Well, England aside, what will the dividing lines be? What tack can possible Democratic challengers like former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley and former Senator Jim Webb of Virginia take to successfully pry Iowa voters away from Clinton? I'm not sure how they'll draw distinctions. Patty Judge, a former lieutenant governor, said after listening to both men's speeches, they're both great guys and they both have a great story to tell. But how they're going to distinguish themselves, I don't know. Several Democrats describing the economy and personal prosperity as base issues said that the dividing line will be ideas for championing the middle class. Wow. There's voters out there that still believe there's a middle class. That's pretty sad and appalling. And
yes.
I don't. Yeah. No. Well, other Democrats said they'll be hunting for the contender who is most fierce on climate change. Other likely litmus test will be the Iraq War and what Clinton says about dealing with the Islamic State and the instability it has spawned. Some anti-war Lowens will never forgive Clinton for her, quote, yes vote 12 years ago in favor of going to war in Iraq, several activists said. And the general election may well turn on foreign policy, Smith predicts. In Webb's Iowa speech Friday night, his refrain was that he took principled stances. It wasn't easy to be one of the earliest to say that the Iraq War was wrong, he said, but 5 months before the vote, he wrote a guest piece for the Washington Post saying that the war was going to be a strategic blunder. Well, question 3 for good old Clinton there. Will any laborers migrate to the GOP? A moderate GOP presidential candidate who supports construction of projects like the Keystone XL and Bakken pop lines. Yeah. Oh, yes, the good old pop lines, Coke or Pepsi.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, several union members told the Register that it's really the United States isn't going to divest from oil as they believe the country can have pipelines and a clean environment at the same time. Wow, how stupid are they? Well, yeah, that's pretty stupid. O'Malley opposes the Keystone Line and told the Register he didn't know details about the Bakken Line, which would cross Iowa, but likely opposes that too. Clinton has yet to fully explain her position on any pipeline, and Webb is a proponent of it. Iowa activists are also worried that Republicans will out-Democrat the Democrats with compelling populist ideas. Republicans will argue that the GOP can best help with working people and helping them improve their lives. I often hear people say there's a difference between the parties. I try not to get mad, but I say, can we talk? Smith told the dinner audience. Well, they're pretty much captive, bud. Yeah, you can... You're on the stage. Everybody's eating. Go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's lay it down to them. Well, question 4, of course, for her is, will Clinton engage in the real battle with fellow Democrats? Yes, every activist the Register interviewed at the dinner proclaimed joy that O'Malley and Webb appear on the cusp of presidential bids. They also hope Warren and Vermont U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders run partly to pull Clinton to the left. I'm open to them all, says Desmond Adams, a Clive businessman. I don't think the passion is connected to the candidate. The passion is connected to the politics. Folks want to see a Democrat win, and that's what pays the bills. This guy just wake up from a 30-year coma or something?
Well, let me tell you something. It's all crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, several Democrats said that they'll be watching to see whether Clinton engages in a real battle with the challengers rather than ignoring them or pussyfooting around them with kind words. And finally, the question number 5 in Iowa for Clinton is, will Clinton shout down the GOP? Not only do Iowa Democrats want a vigorous Democrat-on-Democrat fight for the caucuses, they want to see their presidential contenders play hard with the GOP, hitting back with satisfying, quotable one-liners, which is pretty ballsy if you consider the current presidency. Yeah. Well, we cannot let them get away with misstatements, these constant misstatements of the facts, Smith said. Hey, Smith, have you heard Obama talk lately? Wow.
The music is fantastic. Oh, you got to hear it.
Oh, were you there?
Yes.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Well, thank you, Louis. Thank you for bringing that in. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's the questions for Hillary. And what the hell is she now? Like 78?
Yes.
Something like that. She's sure not as young as she should have been, could have been, would have been if she had yeah. Oh, my gird.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that approval. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
Well, I'll let you. I'll let you have that.
Yeah.
I will. That's all yours. Well, listen, we're going to go for the first commercial break on the coffee and cigarettes this afternoon. But when we come back, the White House, no collusion with Clinton. Yes, they're. It's like they're disavowing any knowledge of her X-file. Yes. Well, we'll be back in 2 minutes, gang.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons, always fresh, always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Baynesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said, America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out, we never style, we never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Well, I mean, it's natural when you're a young kid and you're 15 years old and you say to your parents that you want to be the greatest bodybuilder in the world and you're going to eventually become a movie star and a millionaire, you know, that they have a tendency of taking you to the shrink.
Yeah, well, who would have thunk it, right?
I remember being on your radio show in Chicago.
Arnold had a radio show in Chicago? Because that wasn't me.
Yeah, and I remember we hung out afterwards and had a wild time.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain about it, right?
Oh, no, Arnold, absolutely. Yeah, if there's one thing that you need to add to your stardom and fame, it's definitely a radio show in Chicago. Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, welcome back. You're, of course, listening to a late edition of Coffee and Cigarettes for this Monday, the 13th of April, 2015. Your Coffee and Cigarettes Monday Mocha. 66 right now in Central Park. Partially cloudy, but the sun's still shining out there. It's overall looking, well, it's looking good. I'm not going to complain about it. Wouldn't help me if I did, right?
Yes.
Yes, and of course, your Coffee and Cigarettes today is brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City, with now 8 fine locations throughout the city to serve your coffee and baked goods needs. Yes. Always fresh Tim Hortons. Yeah, you thought I forgot what I was saying, didn't you? Yeah.
I've been on enough radio shows to know that in the middle of an answer, the guy is like checking the boards and looking over notes and talking to other people. Yes. See? Now you're impressed.
No, definitely not. No.
Yes.
Nope, not going to be.
Never. No.
No, absolutely. We're not impressed, Gilbert.
It's about fucking time. Move on. Move on.
Yes, thank you, Louis, very much. Appreciate that.
I need to try and raise $25,000 to enter in the Academy Awards, and I think it's a fantastic risk because we have a tremendous chance. There's about 200 members that vote on it, and they all get. You have to give them a DVD now.
Yes, that's. I've always thought it's been a great thing, you know, the technology, and we're in 2015 now, and DVDs apparently cost $25,000. Yeah, I guess if you break it down, that's what, $125 a piece?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. I guess that's about right for Hollywood, though. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, back on the show now, talking about, of course, in the first segment, the lovely, finally, announcement of Hillary Clinton for running for that Democratic nod, I guess. Well, now the White House has come out, I guess in lieu of that, I don't know. But they've come out and announced that there's absolutely no collusion whatsoever with Hillary Clinton. Yes. Well, that's right. As Hillary Clinton kicks off her 2016 presidential campaign with an emphasis on middle-class economics. Oh, the Obama administration, another group with this idea that there's a middle class. Well, they begin a week of events devoted to middle-class economics. Yeah. It's just a coincidence, officials said. This has been part of the plan for some time prior to any announcement from any of the candidates, said White House spokesman, your friend and mine, Josh Earnest. Yes. Throughout the week, Obama will focus on proposals for pay equity between men and women. Yeah, good luck, buddy. Yeah. And he will also promote a tax cut plan that he says will help that middle class.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, well, Republican proposals would benefit only the wealthy. Yes, of course. Isn't that always the way? Well, Ernest said that the themes of the week are pegged to Wednesday, the deadline for filing federal income tax returns. Ernest also said that Obama would not be endorsing Clinton or any other Democrats who will seek to replace him in the 2016 election. It is, quote, the responsibility of Democratic voters to decide who should be the Democratic nominee, Ernest said. Once that nominee emerges, Ernest said he or she can be confident that they'll enjoy the support of President Obama. You catch that little he or she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
Well, did Clinton tell Obama she would announce her candidacy on Sunday? Who the freak knows? I don't know. Well, I'm not aware of any specific heads up the president got, Ernest said. I can't sort of account for everybody that may have been in touch with the Clinton campaign. He noted that Obama and Clinton have a private meeting in recent weeks. I don't know if they talked in detail about her rollout plans, Ernest said, but if they did, I probably wouldn't talk about it from here. Yes, that's right, because we don't want to be losing our job in Ernest. No. Or Ernest losing his job.
Yes.
Something like that. Well, moving on to, I don't know, I dare say more important news. Yes, for astronauts, the daily grind is just getting better. The International Space Station is about to get a badly needed jolt of caffeine. An unmanned SpaceX rocket is scheduled to launch from Cape Canaveral today on a resupply mission. And included in its cargo hold is an Italian espresso machine courtesy of your fine folks at Coffee and Cigarettes.
Yes.
There you go. The adapted for space espresso maker is for astronaut Samantha Cristofelli of Italy, who has made do with instant coffee, of course, since arriving in space this year. Italian coffee specialist Lavazza produced the specifically designed machine along with an Italian engineering company, Argotech. The Italian Space Agency also kicked in some help for use in space by NASA. I didn't know there was an Italian space agency. I did not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Arnold, you say yeah like you knew.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Dan Hartman, NASA Space Station Program Deputy Manager, says it's a way to boost spirits and make the astronaut crew feel a little more at home or as close to it as possible while orbiting the planet. The psychological support is very, very important, Hartman said today. SpaceX hopes to launch the Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft with more than 4,300 pounds of food, equipment, and experiments at 4:33 p.m. today. This will be the seventh station supply run for SpaceX, the California company founded by tech billionaire Elon Musk. For the third time, SpaceX will attempt to land its booster rocket on an ocean barge for reuse later. Previous tests, of course, failed. And thank you, Jenny, for giving me the late story, because, of course, had we been on the air at 3 when we were supposed to, that would have been relevant, but they launched the sucker almost an hour ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, word on the street.
And I remember, too, when we were in the alleyway, pants zipped up, there was this one, sleazy-looking guy who walked by who was staring at us, and you turned around, and, he was a, what? What's your problem? And you said, you don't give a shit.
Well, why would I? We're in an alley.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for that. Moving along. We got some even bigger news now. Kanye West, yes. Well, I'm not even kidding. This is actually this is a real deal here.
Yes.
Yeah. Kanye jumps in a lake during his Armenia concert. Well, Kanye West may think he's a god, but he can't seem to walk on water just yet. Yes, during his visit to Armenia with the Kardashian clan, Yeezy hosted an impromptu free concert in Swan Lake in Yerevan on Sunday night. After running through a short greatest hits set, Kanye started performing Good Life and decided to take a quick swim. People posted, of course, a video of this stunt on, your news source, Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah. Fans followed Kanye into the water for a soggy mosh pit. See what kind of morons they are. Look at that. It just begs the question. Now, if he jumped in a lake, would you?
Yes.
Well, yes, they did. They followed Kanye into the water for a soggy mosh pit, and so did the police. Yep. Yes, the police who cut the power to the show and escorted him from the lake. Yeah. Get out of the water, you fool. And one Kanye fan now has a new prized possession, a bag of Yeezy water. For sale on eBay. The current asking price is $1.2 million. Yeah. And if you believe that, I have GoPro cameras that were dunked in the same water. Yeah. Well, you guys, I don't think Arnold was here a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No, he wasn't.
Yes.
No. Arnold was not here months ago.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Okay, well, months ago when we first brought you the story of those parents that were in trouble for letting their kids walk alone. Of course, Gilbert was here because he's always freaking here. Yeah. You see, and the other thing is, while Louis has been here since the very beginning of the show.
Yes.
He doesn't make an ass of himself, so we don't notice him that much.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the way we like to keep it. Well, Silver Springs, Maryland parents accused of child neglect for letting their kids roam around their neighborhood half a year ago had to retrieve them from the country's Child Protective Services after police removed the youngsters from a park. At about 4:55 Eastern yesterday, Montgomery County Police received a call to check on the welfare of Danielle and Sasha Mitov's children, Rafi, 10, and Devora, 6, at a park nearby. Officers found the children unattended and brought them to the agency as part of protocol, they said. Montgomery County Police and County Children's Protective Services are jointly investigating the meaty people. Yeah. Sorry, I think that's Metyev.
Yes.
I think, yeah. Of Silver Springs for allowing their children to walk repeatedly around the neighborhood alone. The parents said they know where their children are, but allowing them independence. Officers picked up the children about 2 blocks from home, Raffi said, telling them they would drop them off at home. Instead, the two sat in a patrol car for 2.5 hours. Kind of like Kanye. And then, of course, they were taken about 10 miles away to Children's Protective Services offices in Rockville, Maryland. The Metyevs said they had taken the children to the park around 4 p.m. and told them to be home by 6. When the children hadn't returned by 6:30, the Metyevs started looking frantically for them. Social workers did not contact them till after 8 p.m., the couple said. Their children were released to them at 10:30. Quote, "I can't believe we're going through this again," Danielle Metyev said. "They've been missing since 6 o'clock. Somebody called 911, the police called CPS, and they decided to bring the kids here, and they didn't call us." To take the children home, the Metyevs had to sign a safety plan that prohibits them from leaving their children unattended, they said. "We asked them why they didn't just bring them home," Sasha Metyev said. "They just said we decided that the safety of the children was more important." Yeah. Okay. Yes, they're not safe with you, so we're going to take them for 4 hours, have you worry frantically.
Yes.
Cause a whole bunch of shit, have a news story. And then ultimately, because we're the government, we're going to give them back to you.
Yes.
Have a nice day. Well, Maryland law prohibits children younger than the age of 8 from being unattended in a dwelling or a car, but makes no reference to the outdoors, as we reported to you again last year. A person must be at least 13 years old to supervise a child younger than 8. Well, in December, a couple was accused of neglect for allowing the children to walk around their suburban Washington neighborhood together unaccompanied by an adult. In one instance, Raffi and Devora were taken from a playground 2 blocks from the home. In another, the park was about a mile away. Those actions have sparked a debate about what has now been dubbed free-range parenting. Yeah. It's like chickens, only not as messy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. In February, the Child's Protective Services found the Metyevs responsible for unsubstantiated child neglect. Oh, good. At least they didn't have to prove it. Yeah. The couple has, of course, appealed.
Yes.
Well, the decision means that the agency will keep on file on the family for at least 5 years. I wonder if Kanye West will get that. Well, it's also left upon the question on what would happen if someone again called police to report that the children were walking without supervision. Quote, "I'm not going to risk my kids being snatched again by CPS," Danielle Metyev said. "If they had let our kids go home, they would have been in bed 2 freaking hours ago." And really, you know, this really strikes a chord with me.
Yes.
Because... don't say yes. You don't even know why.
Yes.
It strikes a chord with me because, you know, in this day and age, 2015 now, in America, we're supposed to have gay rights and lesbian rights and hermaphrodite and
yes.
We're supposed to be okay if Arnold becomes transgender.
Yeah.
You know. Man, I wouldn't like to see that.
Yes.
No. Man's got saggy enough boobs as it is. Yeah.
He called me and he called me. And he kept calling me and I wouldn't answer the phone.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Louie. No, but it's a real problem. You know, everybody's got rights. Everybody's got equality. Everybody's this. Everybody's that. Everybody's there's Supreme Court decisions for everything. But we can't let our kids play on their own like we used to do 20 years ago. Heaven forbid, no. That's the end of the world.
Well, I think that it's a very difficult thing to answer because, in a way, even the day when I won the 7th Mr. Olympia title, I felt like, I was not in great shape.
Well, if it's that difficult to answer, Arnold, just don't talk. I mean, really, what are you doing?
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut. Always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's a American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Yes.
There he goes with England again. Well, listen, we're going to go for our second commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you all about why the Earth gets stronger when a meteor strikes. Like that matters. Back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, none of it. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
It could be 7 in the morning. Or 10 at night.
In Chilliwack, BC.
Or St. Peter's, Nova Scotia.
It could be Michelle.
Or Murph.
Or Jen.
But whenever, wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee,
You know that it's always
always fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
You walked into the hotel as a 5. But when she saw the room, you turned into a weird 7. When she saw the rooftop pool, you went to 11. You two should probably get a room. Oh, that's right. You already did. At Planet Earth's #1 accommodation site, Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
And another time, you were going to buy drugs from your pusher, and you were like a block away, and then somebody walked up to your pusher first and shot your pusher.
Oh, yeah. You always make those references from 1952. They don't call them pushers anymore, Gilbert. It's your dealer, yo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that it was several movies that failed, and but at the same time, I have to say that I did not regret making any of them.
Good. Well, who asked you? Yeah. Just a little note, Arnold. Try to stay current and relevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Coffee and Cigarettes for your Monday Mocha. We're rolling a little late today. 5:50 p.m. in the big city right now. 66 degrees, Central Park. Still partly cloudy, but nice and. When you've been dealing with minus 200 for 5 months. You know, it might not be that big of a thing for Arnold.
Yes.
But it is for us. Yeah. I don't think Arnold's toilet seat has been below 62.
Never.
Well, there you go.
I'm not going to complain about it, right?
Why would you? You're in California. Well, of course, this episode of Coffee and Cigarettes, as always, is brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City. Now, with 8 fine locations in the city to serve all your coffee and baked goods needs, Tim Hortons always fresh. And welcome back this afternoon. And, before we get into it, we've got some more important news, like, the Democrats calling for LGBT protections because, quote, they're dropping like flies. But we'll of course, get to that in just a few minutes. We've got something more important.
Yes.
You're probably asking, well, geez, Crash, what's more important than LGBT people dying?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you. Why the Earth gets stronger when meteor strikes. That's what's more important. That's right. Scientists have studied the effects of meteor strikes above ground, but what happens to the soil underground during a high-speed impact? Yeah. It's sometimes just those little words that screw me up the most. But I'm sure, Arnold, you've never had that. Yeah.
Never. No.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Not the little words. No, but yes. What happens to the soil underground during a high-speed impact? Well, in an experiment funded by the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, yes, another agency you're paying for and you don't even know it. They recorded using a very expensive high-speed camera.
Yeah.
Well, the physicists at Duke University set out to answer that question. They dropped a bullet-shaped metal projectile 7 feet into a pit of clear plastic beads of varying stiffness, which the projectile hit at about 15 miles an hour to simulate an impact from a meteor or missile. Well, aren't they stupid? Remind me never to send my kids to Duke.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, really? That simulates an impact of a missile or a meteor, huh? Well, according to their press release, during a high-intensity impact with hard beads, the force of the impact moved from bead to bead both deeper and faster than predicted at speeds of up to 670 miles an hour. That's pretty good from a 15-mile-an-hour bead. Well, the beads also became stronger when pressed together during high-speed impacts, which the physicists call nonlinear force propagation. The experts also say that the projectile faced greater resistance and didn't penetrate as deeply into the fake soil as with low-intensity impacts using less rigid beads. Yes, if your test fails, just use less rigid beads.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the scientists determined that when the bead was compressed based on how it transmitted light and force chains, similar to lightning bolts, appeared when footage was viewed through polarizing filters. I wonder if they screwed up in their press release when they were talking about that dumping the metal projectile 7 feet into a pit of clear plastic beads moving at 15 miles an hour. How do you get 670 mile an hour acceleration is really the physics question here.
Yes.
Well, they also say that the projectile faced greater resistance and didn't penetrate as deeply into the fake soil as with low-intensity impacts using less rigid beads. The scientists determined that the bead was compressed based on how it transmitted light and force chains similar to lightning bolt. Can we get on to something else? Jesus Christ, what the hell? I'm sorry, Jen. Closing it up. I don't need beads. No. I want to get on to something a lot more fun anyway.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
Well, it might be the tip of the iceberg, Louie, but there's some very serious sex stuff going on.
Yes.
Yeah. We've got to get to it because, well, it's an LGBT thing. Yeah.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Well, good. Shut up and let me get to it. Well, the Democrats say federal LGBT protections are needed and needed bad.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Congressional Democrats said today they'll push for federal legislation to prevent discrimination against gays and lesbians in states that lack broad non-discrimination laws. It's time for Congress to weigh in on what is happening across the country, says Rep. Steve Israel of New York. Yeah, figures. Yes, who happens to head the House Democratic Policy and Communications Committee. The recent examples of legislation in Indiana and Arkansas. Oh, yes, the good old religious freedom. Oh, yes, we got to step up now and offer that religious love to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course. Well, the recent examples of those two legislations in Indiana and Arkansas are not where we are as a country, according to him. It's not who we are as Americans, and Congress needs to lead on this. A religious freedom law that Indiana passed last month sparked vocal protest that businesses in the state could now deny wedding services to gay couples. That prompted state lawmakers and Governor Mike Pence to amend the law to make it clear that that's not the intent. We are, after all, talking about religion, you tools. Well, likewise, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson requested changes to similar legislation in his state that was opposed by Walmart and others. Isn't it good to know that Walmart stands up for the little guy? Well, in the wake of the backlash of Indiana's misguided law, it is clear that the vast majority of Americans oppose this type of discrimination. Democratic Rep. Andre Carson of Indiana said today. Carson plans to introduce a non-binding resolution this week expressing lawmakers' view that gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people should be protected from discrimination in the workplace, businesses, schools, and elsewhere. Well, I'm glad it's going to be a non-binding resolution. Of course, the resolution is intended to be a prelude to legislation to be announced later this spring by Rep. David Saline, Democrat, Rhode Island. Most Americans would be surprised to learn that in most states a gay couple can be married on Saturday, post photos of their wedding on Sunday, and then be fired on Monday for no reason other than the fact that they're gay. Well, you know, here's a tip. Don't post your photos.
Yes.
Yeah. Facebook's a killer. Well, for either of their proposals to pass, the GOP-controlled Congress, Carson and Celine, will need to win support from some Republicans. Good luck with that. Well, 10 Republicans helped pass a Senate bill in 2013 to prohibit workplace discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity, but the House didn't vote on the measure with a 10-foot pole. Bill Celine plans to introduce a broad civil rights measure fashioned after the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 because, damn it, I want my own statue. It would protect the LGBT community from discrimination in housing, public spaces, schools, the workplace, and other areas. Other areas. Oh, that's good. That's good. I guess everything will be in other areas.
Yes.
Well, Cicilline said that federal legislation is needed to cut through the patchwork of laws across the country that prevent everyone from enjoying basic rights and protections of being gay. There you go. Yes. There you go. So there it is. Now in Phoenix, Jodi Arias sentenced to natural life in prison. Jodi Arias, who was convicted in 2013 for the 2008 murder of her lover, Travis Alexander, was sentenced Monday to natural life in prison after two juries could not reach any kind of unanimous decision on whether to sentence her to death. Back in my day, it was called a hung jury.
Yes.
Back in my day, that was innocent, damn it. Well, Monday's ruling ended one of the more dramatic and notorious murder trials in recent history. After Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Sherry Stevens announced the sentence, the victim's sister, Tanisha Sorensen, shouted, "Burn in hell." Stevens had the option of giving Arias natural life or life in prison without the possibility of relief, to which she was given natural life. So now Arias has claimed she's a transgender. No more natural life for me.
Yes.
Nope. Well, before Stevens gave her decision, Arias' mother made a plea for a lighter sentence. Quote, "I know she's not the monster she's made out to be," Sandy Arias said before Stevens announced her decision. And Arias' attorney, Jennifer Wilmot, asked that the judge not base this on what a mob on social media says. Wilmot said Arias is, quote, repulsed by what she did. She really is. She says if she cries, they call them the people call them fake tears. If she doesn't cry, then they say she's evil, the defense attorney added. Alexander's family spoke earlier in the hearing. Sorensen said to Arias, "Stop murdering my brother again and again, smearing his name on Facebook." Well, another of his sisters, Hillary Wilcox, reminded the courtroom of what Alexander and his family lost. Quote, "He wanted to get married. He wanted a family," she said. "I am married. I have a family he will never get to meet." And what about all those gay people? They can't get married or even have the ability to make kids.
Yes.
That's not fair. We need to somehow inseminate women with women, and men need to have the right to have little poop babies.
Yes.
And
I think you have sharks in both tanks.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, she didn't really say all that. I just threw that in for comic relief. Yeah. There you go. Well, Stevens listened intently to both sides, then sentenced Arias to the harsher penalty. The crime was, quote, especially cruel, the judge said. It involved substantial planning and preparation. The defendant destroyed evidence, and we went to great lengths. No, we didn't go to great lengths to conceal her involvement. No. No, the judge did not say that. She said, and then she went to great lengths to conceal her involvement.
Yes.
That's what she said, yeah. She said she saw no reason for leniency. Arias will likely appeal her conviction as her attorneys made a detailed record of their allegations of misconduct against prosecutor Juan Martinez over the course of 2 trials. The criminal defense community, meanwhile, is assembling a dossier on Martinez with the intent of filing a complaint to the State Bar of Arizona regarding his conduct in the Arias case and others. Well, Michael Kiefer on Twitter wrote, "Death would bring me untold peace and freedom. For years, that's what I wanted." Hashtag Jody Arias. Isn't that nice? Yes, your death will bring me untold peace and freedom.
Yes.
And we can't have a Coliseum. What? You know? Well, Alexander, 30 years old, who was found dead in the shower of his Mesa, Arizona home in June 2008, he had been shot in the head and stabbed nearly 30 times, and his throat had been slit. Yeah. Alexander's friends immediately pointed to Arias as a likely suspect, and explicit photos recovered from a digital camera found in Alexander's washing machine showed that the murder occurred after a tryst between Arias and Alexander. They had photographed each other naked and in bed, and Arias had photographed Alexander in the shower, where he was found. One photo even showed his bloody body lying on the floor. That, ladies and gentlemen, is love. Well, I guess on to the real important stuff now.
Yes.
Yeah. You're awake, Arnold. Okay.
Yes.
That's good. I thought he was asleep.
He needs love, Chris. Come on.
Well, I know.
You got to dispense more love from yourself. All these people are hurting here.
Oh, I'm going to dispense me some love. Well, Obama AIDS. No, Obama doesn't have AIDS.
Yes.
No. Obama aides seek to sell Iran a nuke deal. Yes, that Iran nuke deal that, of course, we told you on Friday, Iran said, give us all our stuff or no deal. Right. Well, today, President Obama and his aides spent the day pushing the Iran nuclear deal in the face of congressional and international headwinds. Secretary of State John Kerry and other officials began holding classified briefings for members of Congress while Obama and National Security Advisor Susan Rice spoke with Jewish leaders about the proposed and disputed agreement with Iran. Among their obstacles, the insistence by some lawmakers that Congress have a say in any final agreement, and the demands by Iran for immediate sanctions relief and less intrusive inspections. Quote, we are at the beginning of the process of helping members of Congress understand this without making them have to read. Yes, and exactly what commitments Iran has really made and how those commitments we hope will be finalized over the course of the next 2.5 months, said White House spokesman Josh Earnest. Earlier this month, the United States, its allies, and Iran agreed to a, quote, framework by which the allies would reduce sanctions on Iran if it gives up the means to make nuclear weapons. Now, officials are trying to work out the final details of a formal agreement, facing a deadline of June 30th. Kerry is leading the classified briefings on Capitol Hill, along with Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz, Treasury Secretary Jack Lew, and officials from the intelligence community. They briefed House members today and are scheduled to do the same for senators on Tuesday. The administration's sales job takes place as Russian lawmakers, as Republican lawmakers and some Democrats consider Oh man, it's Monday. That's what it is. It's Monday. Yes, they consider a proposal requiring congressional review of any final detail. Deal. Oh my God. Screw.
Yes.
I'm going to try and see if I can say it. Commercial.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the
Egyptian cotton towels.
Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York.
Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
And another time you were going to buy drugs from your pusher.
No, don't even go there again. No, don't do that.
And I remember, and this is why I feel I have a real connection with you, because in the alleyway,
Oh, yeah.
when that's the beginning. she bent over in the alleyway, and you inserted yourself. and then she started to blow me, and my erection was kind of a semi-erection because I kept looking at you. So when you're standing there trying to get a blowjob and looking at it's really hard.
That's.
And then I remember.
No, don't even finish that.
Yes.
Just that really.
I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, yes, Gilbert the really Gottfried. Yeah. Well, welcome back to the big program for your Monday Mocha here on Coffee and Cigarettes, HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk for this Monday, the 13th of April, 2015. 66 in Central Park right now. Sun's still peeking out, but it's, there's clouds going on there, but who really cares? Before the break, what were we doing before the break? Well, it doesn't matter because I've still got stuff to do. Yeah. Yes, I do need to remind you all that today's episode of Coffee and Cigarettes, as always, is brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City, now with 8 fine locations in the city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs. Tim Hortons, always fresh.
Yes.
There you go.
When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
Yeah.
Actually, if you said that, that'd be good because then I get about $6 or $7 more million for this episode. Yeah. But you're not going to say that, right?
Never.
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Didn't think so. Of course not. Well, before the break, we were really sadly trying to hammer through that Obama AIDS and nuke deal, and it wasn't going so well. And I don't know what's wrong with me. I've got this little twinge in my brain. I don't know if it could be Gilbert. It could be.
You know why, Chris? Because you're such a control freak. You don't want anyone to tell you what to do.
Really? Is that? Yeah? You think so, huh?
No, I don't.
Well, earlier this month, the United States, its allies, and Iran agreed to a, quote, framework by which the allies would reduce sanctions if Iran indeed gave up the means to make nuclear weapons. Now, officials are trying to work out those final details of the formal agreement, facing that deadline of June 30th. John Kerry is leading the classified briefings today on Capitol Hill, along with Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz and Treasury Secretary Jack Lew and officials from the intelligence community. Those unnamed intelligence people. They briefed the House members today and are scheduled to do the same for senators tomorrow. The administration's sales job takes place as Republican lawmakers and some Democrats consider a proposal requiring congressional review of any final deal. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, says the GOP-run House will act on the bill after the Senate. Ernest said the White House opposes the plan for a congressional sign-off because it would undercut the U.S.'s bargaining position. He said lawmakers should hold off on assessments of the agreement until a final version is produced in June. But they're not going to do that, no. Well, critics like Senator John McCain noted that Iran's leader, the Ayatollah al-Khamenei, said last week he wouldn't sign an agreement that didn't remove sanctions immediately and unilaterally on Iran. The United States said allies want to phase out sanctions gradually as Iran shuts down parts of their nuclear program. There are also disputes about the reach of inspections of Iran's nuclear program, which Iranian leaders say is designed for peaceful energy purposes. The government of Israel is raising similar objections to the Iran deal. One of the reasons Obama met today was representatives of Jewish organizations in the United States. As with the briefings of Congress, the Monday meetings at the White House gave Obama a chance to, quote, talk to these advocates for the Jewish community about what's included in the interim agreement that we've reached with Iran. Obama will meet with local bowling teams next week. And a final agreement would be good for the United States, Israel, and the Middle East because it would restrict Iran's nuclear program without the need to resort to any messy military action, Erna said. Of course, the president is prepared to make a detailed case about how this diplomatic agreement is by far the best way for us to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. The Obama administration ran into another complication Monday when good old Crash Jesus from HTLA said, hey, what if they just go buy one? Because, you raise those economic sanctions and they're going to have an economy.
Yes.
It means they'd be making money and they'll be buying boom boom.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what has been hailed as the greatest scientific instrument of all time? Well, amazingly enough, not my penis. No, the Hubble telescope, yes, at 25 years old, has been hailed as the greatest scientific instrument. It's likely that no other modern-day scientific instrument has stirred as many passions as the Hubble telescope, which marks the 25th anniversary of its launch into orbit on April 24th. Yeah, don't give us the year, we'll do the math. Right. Well, it brought us bitter disappointment one minute and thrills the next. It has provoked sorrow and wonder, devotion and outrage. At one point, it was the national disgrace. Now it's a national treasure with the kind of name recognition usually enjoyed by pop stars and Crash Jesus. Yeah. Well, you cruise around in a car with Jeremy Irvine taking your clothes off and see how you feel there, Gilbert. Yeah. And speaking of Jeremy Irvine and movies, don't be sure to miss the be sure to miss Straight Talk with Kate and Crash tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Where, of course, we have that wonderful interview with Jeremy Irvine, star of Beyond the Reach, the new Michael Douglas film from Lionsgate, and those fine folks at Roadside Attractions. And it was a good afternoon. I realized the problem areas I've got to work out on. Yeah.
Always with a female having a relationship, married or single, it's always better that they do the leaving. If you do the leaving, it keeps that lingering thing. You know what I mean?
No. I don't know what you mean, Louis.
Didn't you read the goddamn script? I sent it to you.
Well, if Hubble's story were a movie, it would be pure melodrama, from the humiliating news of its defective vision to the triumphant repair by spacewalking astronauts Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Its peerless abilities provoke pride in American ingenuity. Its snapshots an almost spiritual awe. From its vantage point, roughly 350 miles above the Earth, Hubble has become, quote, the most fertile scientific instrument there ever was, says astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, who really needs to get out more. Actually, he's of the New York Hayden Planetarium. It has given the world an art gallery worth of beautiful images of nebulae, distant galaxies, and nearby planets. Before Hubble, few of us had any notion of how the cosmos looked. Now we all know pinwheels of stars, gauzy pillars of gas and dust, bright galaxies scattered across a dark backdrop. Thanks. It's good when you get the professors all talking like they're artists or something. Yes. Yeah. Well, Hubble turned the galaxy into our backyard, says Tyson, who hosted a recent remake of the iconic TV show Cosmos and was inspired by the original Cosmos host, Carl Sagan. Billions and billions. Well, we might still be in the dark if the anti-Hubble forces had gotten their way. Really?
Yes.
The anti-Hubble forces. Yes. Well, during the mid-1970s, many members of Congress saw no need for yet another large telescope. Even some scientists regarded the project as extravagant, grandiose, or both. The Buck Rogers stuff, says former skeptic Ivan King, an emeritus astronomer at the University of Washington. And look at us now. We got the Death Star. Yeah. Oh, no, that's Reagan. Never mind. Well,
yes.
Well, moving on today on Coffee and Cigarettes, of course, we got news of shots fired at the Tennessee synagogue and police's hunt for a gunman. Yeah. Yes, the shots were fired today at a synagogue here on a busy street at about 6 miles from downtown Nashville, police said. Investigators said they're searching for the gunman. No one was injured in the incident at around 8:30 in the morning Central Time. The shooting at the West End Synagogue, a conservative Judaism congregation with more than 400 members, comes as most Nashville area Jewish leaders were starting to gather at the state capitol to hang out with Obama. Well, at the synagogue, a Jewish maintenance worker yes, heard a loud sound, came to the front of the building, and discovered a bullet hole. Police spokesman Don Aaron said Nashville is home to 3 synagogues, and the Jewish community in the area is now on high alert. To which I've always wondered, what the hell is alert? It must be like a dreidel or something. Well, every synagogue and Jewish institution has been notified through our security team. Yes. Yes, naturally, we're always concerned when incidents, especially like this one, come up. The West End Synagogue was founded in 1874 as Kal Kodesh Adath Israel in downtown Nashville in 1950. It was renamed and moved to its current location. Well, they don't say how many people it took to lift it. I don't know. Yeah, weird. And finally today, in our final top story.
Yes.
Yes, ex-lawmakers swing through the revolving door. In Washington, nearly 1/4 of the lawmakers who left Congress recently are working in positions aimed at influencing government policy, even though they're barred from lobbying their former colleagues and Capitol Hill staff. They just email them. Yes, at least 18 former senators and House members have signed on with lobbying and consulting firms, trade groups, law firms, and other organizations with business before the federal or state governments. A USA Today tally shows the analysis examined the 77 people who served in the last Congress and either retired, resigned, or lost their seats. Most of them left in January. Former House members are barred from lobbying Congress for a year after they leave office. Former senators face a 2-year ban. Ex-lawmakers can still lobby the executive branch and provide behind-the-scenes advice to companies and other organizations trying to influence federal legislation. They can also lobby state and local officials. They are cashing in on their Rolodexes, says Craig Holman, and the left-leaning advocacy group Public Citizen, one of the watchdog organizations that pushed for ethics rules in 2007, that banned lobbyist-funded travel and gifts and tightened restrictions on post-congressional employment. Even without talking to their former colleagues, former members of Congress can provide a lobbying shop with valuable insider information, he said. Buck McKeon, the former chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, who decided not to seek re-election recently, launched his own firm, the McKeon Group, with former aides. The firm has drawn 7 clients thus far, including a charter school and Aerojet Rocketdyne, a defense contractor. Quote, a lot of people really don't know how Washington works, especially back home in the district, says McKeon. We keep that secret because it's freaking illegal. Yeah. If If you can help somebody out with a problem, that's a satisfying thing, says McKeon at 76. What else am I going to do? Sit in a rocking chair? Now I'm going to rake in myself bucket loads of cash. That's... Well, another former congressman, Virginia Democrat Jim Moran, joined the law and lobbying firm McDermott, Will & Emery in January as a, quote, senior legislative advisor. Moran, who served 12 terms in Congress, said there's no comparison between lobbying lawmakers directly and advising clients on how to navigate Washington. After 24 years, you gain some understanding and knowledge of the process, the politics, and the people, he said. But it probably would be more of a value if I could sit down with my friends on the Hill and discuss things. But that's illegal. Moran says he avoids talking business with current lawmakers. It's illegal. But of course, that doesn't mean he never interacts with them. For instance, he recently hosted a fundraiser for the number 2 Democrat in the House, Maryland Rep. Steny Hoyer. As a former lawmaker, he enjoys another perk. He can work out in the House gym alongside his ex-colleagues and pass them notes.
Yes.
Other ex-lawmakers with lobbying-related jobs include former Iowa Congressman Tom Latham, who has become a partner in the consulting and lobbying firm that now bears his name, Haidt, Latham, and Spencer and Associates. The Republican will provide, quote, strategic and legislative advice to clients, the firm said. Latham, who retired this year after 10 House terms, did not return our telephone call. Well, that because it's illegal. Yeah. Yes. Ex-Nebraska Congressman Lee Terry recently joined the White House. He joined the White House. Yeah. He recently joined the Washington office of Kelly, Dry & Warren as a senior government relations and public policy advisor. Terry is an 8-term Republican. Also did not respond to our phone calls. Yes, and finally today, former California Congressman Henry Waxman, a political power broker on Capitol Hill for 4 decades, recently became chairman of his son's communication and consulting firm. Waxman said he opted against joining a lobbying firm because he wanted to represent clients who are fighting for some of the things I was fighting for in Congress, and also that other things illegal. Yeah. Waxman, a California Democrat whose accomplishments include expanding Medicaid and helping to pass the 2010 Affordable Care Act. Oh, thanks, idiot. Yeah. Yes. Well, he said his client roster includes environmental groups, hospitals, and community health centers, which rely on federal funding to care for low-income patients. There's some integrity right there. That's... Well, there's dozens of other lawmakers who left Congress in January still are looking for work or have opted out of lobbying entirely, quoting, it's illegal. Yeah. Well, Holman said the pace of ex-lawmakers becoming lobbyists may be slowing as a result of, it being illegal. Yes, a recent public citizen study of former lawmakers who left Congress from 1998 to 2006 found that 42% had become registered lobbyists, Holman said. A separate analysis by the Center for Responsive Politics, paid for by the U.S. government, of course, found that just 18 of the 97 lawmakers who left Congress in 2012, or nearly 19%, went on to work for illegal lobbying firms. There you go. Other experts said the route to lobbying work isn't easy. Lobbying firms and associations seek to hire people who had clout and long tenure on Capitol Hill, or those who had successful careers and management experience before they came to Washington, says Julian Ha, a partner at Hendrick and Struggles, an executive search firm. Quote, just because you are a lawmaker doesn't mean you're going to get a job here, he said, and it's illegal. There you go. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, that is all the time for today's Coffee and Cigarettes and your special bonus 90-minute edition. I want to thank the one, the only Louis Lawless for coming all the way, well, no, for getting on the phone. Thank you very much for coming here, sir. It was great having you.
My film, Unrepented, did very well in Europe.
Yeah, we don't care.
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
No, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yes. And, of course, the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried, the constant bug in my ear. Thank you for being here on the show today.
Thank you for listening and support the show for the love of God.
Oh, geez, you don't have to be so bloody. And Arnold, Governor, I know we didn't get to you much today, and nobody cares. But thanks for being here all the same.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and I'll be back.
Well, if you're lucky and I'm desperate. Yeah. Once again, a reminder, Straight Talk with Kate and Crash tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for that Jeremy Irvine interview for the Michael Douglas film Beyond the Reach. Coming out in theaters everywhere in the USA Friday. Don't forget to miss that one. And I want to thank HTLA Radio 1, of course, New York's best talk. And hey, check them out, HTLARadio1.com. Get all those good shows there. It's radio number one, just like us. So if we don't see you before then, we'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, for another Coffee and Cigarettes, your Tuesday Espresso. We're out.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.